I don't know if you've noticed, but a new generation of video game systems was released this holiday season, and that means 2 new used game sections at your local GameStop. And because those stores only have a limited amount of shelf space, that means GameStops will be gradually phasing out the sale of older generation games, including the Nintendo DS. After 16 years, the most commercially successful handheld system of all time is transitioning into its next stage of life as a retro game. As they say, it's the circle of life. But before they are gone from stores for good, there's something I've been meaning to do. Over the years, I've accumulated quite a number of empty DS boxes, and I'd really like to match up some of those empty boxes with their long-lost game cartridges. But here's the thing, I don't want to pay a lot for these games, because most of these games are really shitty. And since GameStop is no longer taking in DS games that are under $20, it seems as though there is no better time to buy up these games than on Black Friday, using their buy 2 get 2 deal on older games. Alright, let's go out and get some cheap DS games while we still can.
Warning. 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 The following scene contains graphic depictions of shovelware. Viewing is not recommended.
Alright, I just got back from a couple GameStops. I bought 100 loose DS games, 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 I bought 100 loose DS games. So I actually ended up getting 104 games in total. The most I spent on any one game was $4.99, but that really comes out to be $2.50 with the buy 2 get 2 deal. The vast majority were $2.99 or 99-cent games, which ended up being $1.50 or 50 cents respectively. You can see from my receipt that pretty much every other game I got was free. In total, I bought 104 games for $137, which averages out to be $1.31 per game. Now that I've counted all the DS games I've purchased, I'm gonna go through my empty cases and find as many as I can to match up. It gives me so much joy to reunite these games with their original box and manuals. Reunited and it feels so good. I bought a jet ski, but it's made of wood. On it I'll sit, and splinters I'll get. But I am still excited that I own a jet ski, yeah. Thank you, that is my new hit single from the album Now That's What I Call Songs About Purchasing Impractical Recreational Watercrafts, Volume 5. So, of the 104 games I got, I already owned the box and manual for 37 of them. Most of these are pretty common games, but there are a few in here you don't see very often. There's a good mix of legitimate games and straight shovelware. Either way, I'm pretty happy to turn these loose games into complete ones. I don't have time to talk about each individual game I bought, but I did want to highlight a few of the more interesting ones. I put them into 4 different categories. The first category is Best Value. Warioware DIY. Can't say no to a Warioware game that's $2.50. Plus, this is one of the games that I had the box for, so probably the best value out of all of them. Tamagotchi Connection Corner Shop 2. These Tamagotchi games are kind of simple, but they have a pretty good value, around $10 each, so pretty good deal. Style Savvy was only $1.50. Originally released in Japan as Wagamama Fashion Girls Mode, Style Savvy was released in the US in 2009 and is widely regarded as one of the best fashion games on the DS. I haven't played it too much, but I have listened to the soundtrack like 100 times because the music is awesome. It's actually going on in the background of this video right now, so take a listen. Cool fact about this game is it was developed by Sin Sophia, which used to be known as AKI Group, and they developed all the WCW NWO wrestling games for N64, and ever since I learned that fact, I just always think of wrestling games when I look at this cover.
What you gonna do, brother?
Next category is Rarest Games. None of these are the absolute rarest DS games, probably not even the top 20 or 50 rarest. but there are a few ones that are quite uncommon. Gremlins Gizmo is a pet simulator game based on the character from the Gremlins movies. Not hard to imagine why this game didn't sell too many copies, considering it came out 15 years after those movies were relevant. Here's Survivor, based on the massively popular reality TV show of the 2000s. It was published by Volcom, which is known for releasing really obscure and rare games with low print runs. This one is Polar Bowler. It is pretty rare, but it's actually not even the rarest Arctic-themed bowling game because Elf Bowling 1 and 2 is even rarer. There's really no better way to quantify how weird the DS library is, other than saying there are 2 rare Arctic-themed bowling games. And last for the rare games, possibly the rarest of all of these is Casual Mania, published by Despereaux. You know, I'm a little offended by the title of this game. I spent 3 weeks in the hospital in 2018 with a real bad case of Casual Mania. Alright, this category is the hidden gems, but also I like to call it the surprisingly good category, because there's a lot of DS games, and a lot of them are bad, and a lot of them look bad, and are actually good. Secret Files Tunguska is a point-and-click game based on the mysterious explosion of 1908. It takes place in Russia, and the art is generally good, so yeah, worth it for a few bucks. Animal Boxing, the name says it all. It's basically like Punch-Out, except you're fighting anthropomorphic zoo animals instead of dudes. This game is noteworthy because it's the only DS game that requires you to flip your DS upside down and use the touchscreen on top. Huh, I wonder if this is how Australians play DS games. Emergency Disaster Rescue Squad. When people ask for game recommendations on the DS, I always mention this game. It's fun and compelling and it has very unique gameplay. The graphics are a bit lacking, but other than that I have nothing but praise for it. Seriously, go check it out. Miami Nights is a dating simulator that takes place in Miami. It's basically Ubisoft's answer to the Sims franchise. The US cover is pretty modest, but you can see on the European cover they totally wanted to market this game as the sexy Sims. Also, any DS game that takes place in a city that Will Smith has a song about is gonna be worth playing.
Miami, South Beach, bringing the heat,
DS games that shouldn't exist. I don't get to decide which DS games get to exist and which ones don't, but if I did, these ones definitely wouldn't. The Tale of Despero, based on the 2008 movie Tale of Despero. Did you remember this movie existed? Because I totally forgot this movie existed, which means it absolutely does not need a movie tie-in game. Glory of Heracles. Look, if you want to be Hercules, be Hercules. Don't be Heracles. No one wants Heracles. Make a Hercules game, get out of here with this Heracles game stuff. Come on. Imagine Babyz with a Z. Why would I play Imagine Babyz on DS when I can go over to the Wii and play Imagine Party Babyz? Look, he has maracas. These babies are partying. Even the preemies are partying. They're playing Pin the Tail on the Incubator. That's a bonus DLC. You gotta pay extra for that. Alright, last one for the game that shouldn't exist. We got Petz with a Z, Dogz with a Z talent show. And I gotta be honest, these are some of the least talented dogs I have ever seen. This one's wearing goggles and a scarf. That's kinda talent, I guess. This one's... he's riding a tricycle, but his paws aren't even touching the pedals. He can't go, he's just sitting there. He can't go anywhere. Oh, would you look at the time? It appears I've spent all evening making fun of children's games again. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode. I really don't have much more to say other than I bought a shit ton of games and I didn't have to spend a lot of money, and a lot of the games aren't great, but some of them are okay, so I guess I'm pretty happy. I hope you enjoyed our little adventure, and we'll catch you next time here on DScapades.